Rumsfeld disputes claim by The View co-host that Hillary Clinton actually won election. Why do you want to engage in hypotheticals? During an appearance Thursday on ABC's The View, Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld disputed a claim by some of the co-hosts that failed Democrat presidential nominee Hillary Clinton was the true winner of the 2016 election. This individual, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, I've never met, but I watched him in the campaign, and he ran against a whole bunch of Republicans, and he won, said Rumsfeld, who was Defense Secretary under President Gerald Ford and George W. Bush. And then he ran against the Democrats, a seasoned individual, well-known, Hillary Clinton, and he won. A co-host, Joy Behar, of course, right, promptly chimed in to remind Rumsfeld that Trump lost by more than 3 million votes in the popular vote. What counts, Rumsfeld replied. Well, the electoral vote counts, Behar answered, to which Rumsfeld pithily replied, I thought so. The co-host admitted she likes mentioning Trump's popular vote loss just to irritate the president. The discussion then switched to the belief by some of the co-hosts that unproven allegations against the president that his campaign colluded with the Russians bear similarities to the Watergate investigations that eventually brought down President Richard Nixon. I see some similarities right now going on, Behar argued. There was a break in the Watergate complex. In this case, there was a Russian break-in on the internet. Similar? No. There are other things I have here. There are many similarities, he fired. What's his name? He fired Archibald Cox, the lead investigator. Trump fired his lead investigator, Comey. I think suggesting that we are at a point that approximates Watergate, I think is a stretch, Rumsfeld rebutted. Both Behar and co-host Sonny Hostin began repeatedly asking Rumsfeld if he would support the impeachment of Trump were it discovered that he had indeed colluded with the Russians, but the former defense secretary wouldn't budge. Why do you want to engage in hypotheticals, he asked. This man was elected President of the United States. There is an investigation on the subject you have cited, which is perfectly appropriate. Every administration has investigations. Nothing has been concluded, but I have a sense you may be jumping to conclusions. Let's take a quick listen here of the idiots at The View.
Donald Rumsfeld has served under presidents during the most scandalous and turbulent times in modern history, like Watergate, the Cold War, 9/11, the Iraq War. So, here to give his view of our current life, please welcome Donald Rumsfeld. Hey!
I'm retired.
I know, but you know, as long as you have a thought in your head, people want to hear it. Now, is this administration? Have you ever seen anything as sort of not problematic, but where you just are not sure what is actually going on? Is this sort of unique?
Denial. Where did you find it?
I don't know.
It's different.
Yeah,
You may have noticed.
Yeah, you could go for it, Donnie. Come on.
You're retired.
You have nothing to lose. Tell us the truth.
This individual, the President of the United States, I've never met, but I watched him in the campaign.
Yeah.
And he ran against a whole bunch of Republicans who were governors and senators and congressmen, and it was a good group.
Russians? Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
And he won. And then he ran against the Democrat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A seasoned individual, well-known, Hillary Clinton, and he won.
Mm-hmm. Well, he lost by 3 million votes in the popular vote. He won the electoral vote, yes, and that's the rule of the country.
What counts?
Well, the electoral vote counts.
Thought so.
Yeah. But, you know, but I still like to point that out because it annoys him. Now you worked at you were on the Watergate trail. You worked for Nixon, right? Remember that?
I was in Nixon's cabinet. I did not go to jail.
No. One of the few who did not go to jail.
I was actually in Belgium as U.S. ambassador to NATO when that was going on, and someone said, "Who's the smartest man in Washington?" Answer, Don Rumsfeld. But he's not in Washington. That's right. I knew nothing about it, and I was sent over as ambassador to NATO, and all of that went on, and it was a terrible tragedy for our country, and the first time in our history when a president had to resign.
Well,
and let's hope it never happens again.
I don't know that that was a tragedy. I mean, he needed to resign. He was a crook.
Do you have strong views on that?
I do. And you know, I see some similarities right now going on. I mean, there was a break-in the Watergate complex. In this case, there was a Russian break-in on the internet. Similar, no? There are other things I have here. There were many similarities. He fired, what's his name, Archibald Cox, the lead investigator. Trump fired his lead investigator, Comey.
I think drawing those, suggesting that we're at a point that approximates Watergate, I think is a stretch.
You know what, Don, I really believe this is worse because the Russian interference, we have a foreign nation interfering with our election. You don't think that that's unbelievably sad for this country?
It's scary. And there's an investigation going. I mean, if he is found to have...
We'll find out what the investigation proves,
Should he
but
be
we don't
impeached?
know the answer.
If it's true, should he be impeached?
If it's true, what is
If his administration colluded with the Russians to win this
I
election,
haven't
should
seen
he be
any
impeached?
evidence
But
that they have colluded. Why would I want to if that?
Hypothetically,
Why
Secretary,
do you want to engage in hypotheticals?
because it could become a reality.
This man was elected President of the United States. There is an investigation on the subject you've cited,
Yeah.
which is perfectly appropriate.
Right.
Every administration has investigations.
And a special prosecutor.
Nothing has been concluded, but I have a sense you may be jumping to conclusions.
No, but she's
Well,
not.
but it's a hypothesis.
No, but she's not jumping to conclusions when she says it is a fact that the Russians interfered in the election. We know that for a fact.
Do we think other countries haven't had messed around in our country before? Lots of countries are interested in.
So
in
it's
making
okay then?
mischief in
This is
our
okay.
country. No,
Aside
it's
from-
not okay.
This is supposedly
It's not okay.
these are enemies of the United States.
Yeah, but you're taking a leap from another country horsing around in our
Right.
business
Yeah.
and collusion.
But
And there is an
isn't-
enormous difference.
But if
Well,
there is collusion, isn't that an impeachable offense?
From another angle here.
Okay.
Okay, so
Anything. I mean,
okay, gonna need that bell whoop. Okay, Trump was under fire for allegedly spilling highly classified information to the Russians while in the Oval Office. And given the terror attack in Manchester on Monday and recent news that the UK is kind of, or Manchester's cutting off sharing information with us because of some of the UK efforts.
Yeah.
They're cutting off sharing this information because of these leaks. Do you think this is going to continue to happen, that people are not going to be sharing information we need in regard to intelligence because of leaking of classified information?
I don't. I think that sharing intelligence is enormously important because every country has intelligence collection, and the countries that we cooperate with closely share with us and we share with them, and that doesn't happen unless there's a high degree of confidence that it will be handled in an appropriate way. There are leaks that occur in every country, in every administration. There seem to be leaks taking place now out of the White House, which is unfortunate. And that is important that be managed so that we do not lose the ability to cooperate with intelligence sharing with other countries.
I want to talk, this weekend is Memorial Day, and I want to talk about some of the amazing stuff that you're doing for the military. In our audience, we have Ryan Mannion, Her brother Travis served under you in Iraq and in 2007 was killed by sniper fire while saving his team. Amazing story. Your family set up the Travis Manion Foundation after his death.
No, her family.
I apologize. Set up that. Now, how does that help with the military? Tell us a little bit about the foundation.
Sure. So the foundation is there to bridge the gap between the 99% of those that don't serve and the 1% that do. And we use our veterans and families of the fallen to go out and inspire the next generation to not just serve their country, but be servant leaders right in their own backyards.
Wow. Well, and Secretary Rumsfeld, you recently donated $500,000 to the Ryan's Foundation. Why did you decide to partner with them?
Well, I was in Congress in the 1960s and was one of the ones who introduced legislation to create the all-volunteer military. Before that, we had a draft. When we had a draft, large numbers of people served, but a lot of them didn't want to serve. And now we have a volunteer force, and every one of these people in uniform, they all made a conscious decision to serve the country. That means there are a lot of people who aren't connected to the military, and God bless each of them for doing what they're doing. But the Travis Manion Foundation sends out people, something like 100, 150 different people go out, and they talk to people in the community, schools and various they've touched, I don't know how many, about 30,000 people a year, I believe, is what they believe they reach out to, and talk with military people, military families, talking to people who don't have a direct relationship with the military. And we have the greatest armed forces in the world because of the all-volunteer force, in my view. And
it would be really nice if we could make sure that we remind that in Washington. It would be really nice if we could remind Washington, who tends to cut the budget of the military.
Really?
And our vets, which drive me crazy. But, you know, it's always good.
Really? The total opposite. The total opposite. The total opposite, right? And Rumsfeld is laughing, you see, because they're saying the total opposite. Trump is the one that cared about the military. Obama didn't give a damn about it. And Rumsfeld, notice the quietness with The View. They weren't very excited because Rumsfeld wasn't biting. They wanted to go off on Trump and he wasn't going to do it. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.